War. It's a state of armed conflict between different nations or states, or different groups within a nation or a state. I mean, since the beginning of time, war has been a part of our history. Why? Well, you heard Webster's definition of war. It's conflict. Yes, conflict has been around since the very beginning of time. I mean, it all started with Adam and Eve when they went against God's perfect design and they ate of that deadly fruit. And at that point, sin entered the world. I mean, since then, what have we had? Confusion, chaos, and yes, conflict. And that's what's tainted God's perfect intentions for us. How many times have you heard recently with all of this craziness, all of this madness going on in the world, someone pointing you to the text from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places, and wondered, what on earth does that really mean? I mean, here's the truth. The Christian life, it's a war. I mean, it is a battle. And the battle is for your mind. And the devil, he's out to take control of your mind by all means necessary. I mean, trust me when I tell you, he will use anything to get you. Bad things, good things, and really anything in between. Just take a minute and think about all of the chaos that's happening around the world. I mean, just look around at all that's happening in our society alone. I mean, I don't even need to remind you, because every time we turn on the news, I mean, it's just absolutely depressing. I mean, every time we get on social media, everywhere we turn, there's just chaos. And just when we think it can't get any worse, it does. But the bottom line is this: God created all human beings in his image. Sadly, not all human beings follow him. Sadly, though we were created by God, not all of us are his children. 1 John chapter 3, verse 10 makes that very clear. There is a major difference. Many are sifted by Satan and used to wreak havoc and cause confusion and cause chaos in this world. I mean, the evil that you're seeing right now, I mean, Satan is responsible. He is using human beings that were created by God to execute his plan. Let me explain what I mean by this. Have you ever heard of a puppet master? Well, let me define what a puppet master is. A puppet master is someone who secretly controls people or things as if they were puppets. Satan, he is the puppet master, and all of the evil things that you see and that are happening right now are absolutely orchestrated by him. All of the people that are causing evil and destruction are human beings made in the image of God, but are being controlled by Satan to do his work. Many have been sifted by him. And what he does is he lures you in with temptation. You bite, and then you're hooked. Then you spend the rest of your life doing his dirty work. I mean, you essentially are working for evil, and you don't even know it. And as the puppet master does, he secretly controls you. I mean, if you truly think about this, this is sad. I mean, this should cause you major grief, and it should help you to have compassion for the people who are causing all of this chaos. I mean, I would say this is how Jesus sees it. I mean, he sees his creation being controlled by evil. And I think this is how he's calling us to view people. I mean, I think this is why Jesus, could yell out from the cross when he was asking his Father to forgive his executors, for they knew not what they were doing. And I think this is why Jesus is able to have compassion, because he is aware of the war that is being waged, and he knows who's behind it all. We as humans, I mean, we see it completely differently. And this is why we lack compassion. This is why we hate. I mean, this is why we fight. This is why we loot. This is why we kill. And the list goes on and on. I mean, we are influenced by this evil, and we don't even see who the real enemy is. My friends, if you don't, I mean, you're just being fooled. Our government, our schools, the sporting industry, Hollywood, the police department, the military, suburban America, the impoverished areas, upper class, middle class, lower class, all of them are infiltrated with evil. And so what happens? Injustice, death, chaos, violence, racism, confusion, hatred, divide, and guess what? The list goes on and on and on and on. Why? It's not because of whites. It's not because of blacks. It's not because of Hispanics or Asians, or you fill in the blank with any other race that you want to add. It's because of Satan. It's because he's controlling the minds of human beings and is using each of us to wage war against each other. He has his hands on everything. And that's why there is the killings. That's why there is the shootings. That's why there's inequality. And the sooner that we realize this, then we can start fighting the way God is calling us to. So now that we can agree that there are two sides, God's side and Satan's side, good versus evil. Simply put, it's not Republican versus Democrat. It's not black versus white. It's not rich versus poor. I mean, you get the point. I mean, you need to see that there is one war, and it's good versus evil, period. So you may be thinking, if God created all human beings in his image, then how is this even possible? Well, God created all of us in his image with a purpose, specifically engineered and made by the Almighty Creator. I mean, the Bible says that we are his masterpiece. It says that God knows every hair on our head. It says that we are loved. I mean, it says that we are valuable. I mean, we're loved so much that God sent his only son to die for us. So why is it that we fall into Satan's traps so easy? Well, it's because God gave us free will. I mean, he created us with the ability to choose, and sadly, we choose evil because that's what's ingrained in us. I mean, we have hearts that desire things that aren't good for us. I mean, we choose to follow our flesh. We choose to follow our desires. We choose to lust. We choose to be greedy. I mean, and it's hard to deny the things of this world. So instead of denying that, we fall for it. And it's absolutely deadly. So this spiritual battle, I mean, how do we fight? How do we win? Well, we stand in truth. We stand in righteousness. We stand in peace with faith on the salvation of Jesus and on the word, which is the most dangerous weapon that we have in this battle. And so what does all this mean? How do we apply this to our lives, in our context? I mean, this is where you ask yourself these real questions. Do you put on the quality of trueness in your life? I mean, are you not a hypocrite? Are you real? I mean, are you through and through a truth-driven person? I mean, you want to know how to defeat him. The answer is, it's to do right things. So ask yourself this question: is the gospel always brewing? Is it simmering in your life? I mean, are you always ready to give an answer, ready to speak the truth, ready to speak that gospel? I mean, if that's the way you're conducting your life through the day, the devil, he has no chance at tripping you up. Zero chance at messing you up. Guys, we have to know the scriptures. We just quote the Bible back to the devil and we win. I mean, do this every single time, during every temptation, during every single test, everything that rises up in your heart. And lastly, pray. Pray in the Spirit and pray in all occasions. So my friends, this is how we fight. I mean, we don't fight with damaging words. We don't fight with anger. We don't fight by looting. We don't fight by rioting. We don't fight with guns. I mean, that doesn't win the war. I mean, that only pours fuel on an already raging fire. As followers of Jesus, we have to be different. We must fight differently. And it must start now, because the heat is only going to be turned up on us. And so we first have to realize how much we are being played by Satan, how he is secretly controlling the human race and is the one that is causing all of this chaos and is causing all of this confusion. So the answer is that it's turning to Jesus. It's repenting of your sin. It's surrendering your life to him and allowing him to lead you. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to produce lasting fruit. I mean, without that, there is no hope. I'm 100% certain of that.